Eagle 95.1 WUPN Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie.
It's time for The Game. Eagle 95.1 proudly brings you The Game, the Twin Sault's only regional and national sports show. For the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look at sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region and hear from coaches and players involved in The Game. Now, let's join Scott Nason at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan for tonight's broadcast of The Game on Eagle 95.1.
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game! It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control, and if you can take it, all about your debt. And if you can pay it, it's all about pay. And who's gonna make it?
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to The Game on Eagle 95.1 and online at RadioEagle951.com or TheGameSportsShow.com. Scott Nason broadcasting from the studios of Eagle 95.1 on Ashman Street, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan on this special Sunday edition, February 24th, 2019. We'll be joined in our next segment by Butch Davis from Butch On Sports, who will get us up to date on everything going on around the Metro Detroit area in the world of sports. It's been a wild February here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan due to, well, some travel commitments from yours truly. I was down in South Carolina for a couple weeks, missing a lot of these storms that have hit the area. And, well, they're expecting another big storm here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, starting a little about an hour from now. A blizzard warning in effect here in Sault Ste. Marie from 1 p.m. today, Sunday, through tomorrow morning, as we're expected to get some high winds, snow, ice, all sorts of nonsense, as it has been one wild month in February. Now, normally we're on Monday nights at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street, but tomorrow night we have Soo High Blue Devil hockey on the Eagle, as Tim and Clayton Ellis will be down in Gaylord, Michigan, as Soo High will take on Alpena in their pre-regional hockey game. They'll have the call around 6 o'clock with the pregame show at 5:45. So our next version of the game from the Wicked Sister will be a week from Monday, March 4th, with myself, Dave McKegg, Katie Woolen, Butch Davis, and E.J. Russell. But we have a lot of local sports to cover here in the first segment, and so let's look back to this past week and some of the games that happened in the area. Starting on Monday night, this past Monday, boys basketball in Engadine over St. Ignace by the score of 78-36. Couple girls basketball games on Monday. Brimley improves to 11-5 on the season, as they win at Harbor Light by the score of 66-35. And also on Monday night in Sault Ste. Marie, it was the Soo High Blue Devils, also improving to 11-5, as they defeated Alpena by the score of 46-28. Boys basketball on Tuesday, the Brimley Bays' quest to have a perfect regular season continued, and they won at home in their home finale against Harbor Light Christian by the score of 77-49. Soo High was at Petoskey on Tuesday night in boys basketball, and was the Northmen winning by the score of 72-51. Also on Tuesday in boys basketball, the Pickford Panthers steadily improving as the season has gone along. They've gotten a couple players back, and they won at the Purple Palace on Tuesday over Rudyard by the score of 72-60. Nick Eddington, he had 21 points for the Panthers. Jimmy Story had 13, while Paul Staker had 15 points for Rudyard. Girls basketball on Tuesday, 4 games. Brimley was at Cedarville, the game you heard on Eagle 95.1 with Katie Woolen, and it was Cedarville winning by the score of 57-39. Pickford at Rudyard on Tuesday night. The Panthers over the Bulldogs by the score of 67-59. Darcy Bennett had 23 points for the Panthers. Tori Thermos had 13, while Sierra Molina had 20 points for Rudyard. Newberry over Engadine in girls basketball on Tuesday by the score of 44-33. Mackinac City over Detour Also in girls basketball, 34-22. Wednesday, a couple games. One game in boys basketball, Cedarville over Hillman by the score of 60-40. And the Sioux High Blue Devils were at St. Ignace girls basketball, Straits Area Conference on the line. And it's the Saints once again taking the girls' crown in the sack as they defeated Sioux High by the score of 64-50. Emily Koivu, she had 27 points for the Saints, while Emily Hart and Haley Marshall had 10 for St. Ignace. Ashton Bell had 16 for Sioux High. In a game you heard on Eagle 95.1 on Thursday night with yours truly and Katie Woolen, the Brimley Bays completed their first undefeated regular season since the early 1990s as they were all over the Sioux High Blue Devils and winning by the score of 70-41. Tristan Lyons, he had 23 points for Brimley, while Marcus Harris had 19 as the Bays topped their Class B foe for the second straight year. Now the Bays will start their playoff run on Monday in Rudyard as they will take on Ojibwe Charter starting at 6 o'clock. Now we won't have that game due to Sioux High Blue Devil hockey, but if the Bays do win that game, and I think they will, then they will take on Engadine on Wednesday in Rudyard around 7:30. Myself and Todd Olmstead will have the call on the Eagle or online at on EagleRadio951.com. In the other district semifinal on Wednesday, Rudyard will face Newberry. That game at 6. And so if the Bays win on Wednesday, then we'll have the district final on the Eagle with Todd Olmstead on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And if the Bays would win that district, and they are favorites, but it will be tough, then the regionals will begin a week from Tuesday in St. Ignace and potentially against Pellston, one of the top teams also in the state of Michigan. Other games on Thursday in girls basketball, it was Rudyard all over Detour by a 58-8 count as the Bulldogs will have their first district game on Monday, March 4th as they will be in Engadine, while Detour 4-11. They will host Harbor Light Christian on Tuesday of next week, and then they get the honor, and I don't think that's the right word to use, they get the tough matchup against St. Ignace in their district, which will start on Monday, March 4th. The Bulldogs still have one game left in the regular season in girls basketball. They will be at St. Ignace on Tuesday. Speaking of St. Ignace, they improved to 17-0 on Thursday in girls basketball as they were all over Sheboygan by the score of 69-23. Newberry at Cedarville in girls basketball, while the Trojans and Panthers, they're battling for the EUP conference crown. It's going to go down to the final game as Cedarville improved to 12-4 on Thursday as they defeat Newberry by the score of 61-45. Now Cedarville has a busy week next week, 3 games, a couple makeup games. They'll host Engadine on Monday. They'll be at Harbor Springs on Tuesday, and then at the Palace, otherwise known as the Purple Palace of Pickford, on Thursday, as they will take on Pickford, and the winner of that one will likely decide the EUP conference crown. Speaking of Pickford, they won at Engadine on Thursday by the score of 72-48, and they have just one game remaining, 15-4 on the season. They will host Cedarville on Thursday at the Purple Palace in Pickford, and both Cedarville and Pickford, they're in that district with St. Ignace. The Trojans, they will open up district play against either St. Ignace or Detour on Wednesday, March 6th, that district in St. Ignace, while Pickford, they will open up the district taking on Rudyard. And so, hey, we're into March Madness in a few days. Actually, tomorrow begins March Madness, if you can believe that. Laker men's and women's basketball on the road Thursday. Tough games for both the men and women. The Laker men needed a win, and they would not get one as they fell on the road to Wisconsin Parkside on Thursday by the score of 60-58. Senior forward Blake Marquardt led the Lakers with 17 points, while Rog Stein, he recorded a double-double, notching 13 points and 10 rebounds. The women would lose by the score of 80-62 on Thursday night to Wisconsin Parkside as junior forward Lexi Cohn, she had a season-high 23 points and 9 rebounds for the Lakers. In a game you heard on Eagle 95.1 on Thursday night, the Sioux High Blue Devil hockey team, which has struggled mightily, especially in the second half of the season. Well, they stopped their losing streak at 12, but they still are on a 13-game winless streak as they had a 2-2 tie in Traverse City West on Thursday night. So the Blue Devils end the regular season 5-17-2. That's the bad news. The good news is everybody's 0-0 to start the playoffs. And again, the Sioux High Blue Devils will take on a very tough Alpena team Monday night in Gaylord. And Eagle 95.1 will have the call with Tim and Clayton Ellis, starting with the pregame show around 5:45 on Monday. Sioux Greyhounds on a 3-game road trip. They started off on the right foot Thursday as they defeated Windsor by the score of 4-2. Morgan Frost with the pair of goals in that one. Rory Cairns and Cole McKay had the other goals for the Hounds. Sioux Thunderbirds at home on the road on Thursday. They've wrapped up everything in the NLJHL West, and they do have the best record in the NLJHL, so they'll be the top seed heading into the playoffs. The Thunderbirds defeated Elliott Lake on Thursday by the score of 4-2. Cade McDonald had the hat trick for the T-Birds, and Lucas Terrio scored his 35th goal of the season. Boys basketball on Friday night, 3 games, Cedarville at Newberry, and it was the Trojans improving to 15-5, ending the regular season with a 9-game winning streak as they defeated Newberry by the score of 79-48. Now the Trojans, they're going to start district play in boys basketball on Wednesday at the Purple Palace in Pickford, where they will take on Detour at 7:30 in that Division 4 district semifinal. Pickford improves to 8-9. Of course, they didn't get all their games in due to weather and some early games canceled because of the success of the football team, as Engadine falls at Pickford by the score of 72-69. The Panthers will be home for their district starting on Wednesday night against Mackinac Island, and Engadine will be in Rudyard for their District 4 semifinal. Again, they will take on either Brimley or Ojibwe Charter on Wednesday, and if it's Brimley, we'll have that game on the Eagle. Rudyard ends their regular season at 9-10 as they defeat Detour by the score of 58-36. Detour will take on Pickford in the District semifinal in Pickford on Wednesday, while Rudyard, they're going to take on Newberry at home on Wednesday. Sioux Greyhounds would drop a 4-3 decision to Kitchener on Friday night on the road. Keegan Haudashell, he scored his 39th goal of the season for the Hounds, while Ryan Roth and Jaromir Pitek had the other goals for the Sioux Greyhounds. Sioux Eagles, big weekend at home as they need points to try to move up in the standings. They started the weekend tied for third place with the Blind River Beavers, and that's big because you avoid that first round best-of-3 matchup in the NLJHL West playoffs, and then you would avoid the Thunderbirds in the next round. So there's lots to play for, and well, the Sioux Eagles started off Friday night against Rayside Belfour down 2-0, but they stormed back, scoring 7 straight goals and winning by the score of 7-2. Caleb Wood, he had a pair of goals for the Eagles on Friday night. Dominic Scarella, Alex Schwab, Owen Shire, Brett Morich, and Ryan Dax had the other goals, while Shane Brancato made 29 saves in net for the Eagles in the victory. Sioux Thunderbirds were at home on Friday night, retiring the jersey of Jerry Patingalo, and it was the Kirkland Lake Gold Miners defeating the Thunderbirds by the score of 2-1. Sioux Michigan native Brendan Miller scoring the only goal for the Thunderbirds on Friday. Laker hockey, second place entering this weekend. They were on the road at Northern Michigan. Not a good weekend for the Lakers. They would fall on Friday night at the Barrie Event Center by the score of 4-2, as Gage Terrell and Braden Gelsinger scored the only goals for the Lakers. Nick Kossoff made 27 saves in net for the loss for Lake State. Moving back to basketball on Saturday, very successful weekend, at least on Saturday, for the Laker men and women. The men would improve to 14-11 on the season, 10-9 in the GLIAC as they defeated Purdue Northwest by the score of 82-72. Rog Stein, Malik Adams both had 16 points. Blake Marquardt 14 and Tim Cairndiff with 13. So the Lakers now will be on the road for the GLIAC quarterfinals. Not sure yet where they will play, either Ashland, Wisconsin Parkside, potentially Ferris State. The Lakers will end the regular season with a big game on Thursday against the reigning NCAA Division II national champion Ferris State Bulldogs. That game will be at 7:30 on Thursday. And then again, the GLIAC playoffs will be next Tuesday, March 5th at a Site to be determined. Laker women get their 8th win of the season as they defeated Purdue Northwest by the score of 66-58. Junior guard Claire Radke scored a game-high 19 points and grabbed 8 rebounds. And Lexi Cohn had a double-double with 11 points and 13 rebounds. And the Lakers will conclude the regular season on Thursday night at home against Ferris State. And the Lakers are holding 90s throwback night. So come to the game wearing your favorite 90s apparel and cheer on your Lakers. I don't know if I have any 90s apparel left. Quite honestly, I don't know what 90s apparel is to be. I don't know. I'd have to go through my closet to see if I have anything left from that genre. Laker hockey on the road on Saturday, and it was the Northern Michigan Wildcats sweeping the Lakers by the score of 5-3 on Saturday. Gage Terrell, Brandon Gelsinger, and Ashton Calder scored the goals for the Lakers, while Marcus Mittens had 23 saves in the loss. And so after this weekend, the Lakers are in 4th place in the WCHA standings with 47 points. So they would have home ice for the first round of the playoffs, and if the playoffs started today, would take on Bemidji State. And so now Northern Michigan is in 3rd place with 50 points. You have Bowling Green in 2nd with 51. The Lakers could still catch them. They do have Ferris State this weekend at home, the 9th place team. While Northern Michigan, they're going to take on Michigan Tech, and Bowling Green's going to take on Alabama Huntsville. So you would expect Bowling Green to get maximum points in that one. The Lakers could still catch Northern Michigan, but they want to secure that 4th place spot at least with some points, and likely take on either Bemidji State or Michigan Tech in the first round. And the Northern Michigan Wildcats also win the Father Capo Cup this season. And as I mentioned, the Lakers will be home for their regular season finales on Friday and Saturday at the Taffy Able Arena, and Saturday night, of course, senior night at the Able. Sioux Eagles, big win last night at home against Kirkland Lake as Hayden Clark scored 18 seconds into overtime to lift the Eagles to a 2-1 victory over the Gold Miners. Brendan Blair scored the other goal for the Eagles, while it was all goaltending for both sides. Joe Benedetto, 31 saves in the win, and Dawson Roden had 44 saves in the loss, and he really helped Kirkland Lake salvage at that point. So the Eagles right now in good shape in the West Division, 4 points ahead of Blind River for 3rd place in the West Division. The Beavers do have 2 games in hand, and the Eagles now only 4 points behind Rayside Balfour, and both those teams and the Beavers are in action this afternoon, weather permitting. The Beavers will take on Kirkland Lake. That game starting at 2 o'clock, and the Eagles tonight will take on Rayside Balfour. And then next weekend, be at home Friday night against the Sioux Thunderbirds, at the Sioux Thunderbirds on Saturday, and then end the regular season a week from tonight at Elliott Lake. And again, if the Eagles can get 3rd place, possibly 2nd place is not out of the realm of possibility. The Eagles would be off for a week, avoid that first round matchup, best of 3 against Elliott Lake, and avoid the Sioux Thunderbirds in that semifinal in the West. And so right now, it looks like the Eagles will take on either Rayside Balfour. Well, it looks like they'll take on Rayside Balfour if they finish 3rd, or 2nd, and that would be a very tasty matchup in the WCHA, in the NOJHL. There's a lot of tasty matchups in the WCHA. And you can catch the podcasts of our calls on Hockey TV with yours truly and Larry Pozzabon by going to thegamesportshow.podbean.com or thegamesportshow.com. Or you can go to YouTube and look up the Scott Nason channel, and you can find our friend Dave McKegg and his merry band of gentlemen with their shows from Northern Superior Brewery, Sports Center Bar and Grill, and Icebreakers inside the John Rhodes Community Center, all at thegamesportshow.com. We're going to catch our breath and take a break from a very busy local sports scene. And we come back, we're going to talk Detroit sports with our good friend Butch Davis. It's been a while since we've had Butch on, but there's always lots going on in the world of Detroit sports. The Detroit Red Wings still struggling a bit on the ice. The Pistons starting to get things going a little bit. A big victory last night at Miami. All of a sudden the Pistons are in 7th spot in the East. We'll also talk about baseball. Yes, blizzard warning going on, but we have pitchers and catchers reporting. Spring training underway. We'll talk about that with Butch and more coming up on the game here on Eagle 95.1.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
The Game Sports Show wants to thank its original home, partner, and sponsor since 2015, Sports Center Bar and Grill, named the Sioux's best sports bar for 3 years in a row. Sports Center Bar and Grill is located on 624 Wellington Street West in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Make sure to come on down to Sports Center to enjoy the great atmosphere with great cold beverages available, including those delicious Molson products. Don't forget about their famous 75-cent wing nights on Wednesdays. They're truly the best wings in town. Like and follow Sports Center on Facebook at Sports Center SSM. We look forward to seeing you today. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Play Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company, it's a northern thing.
Welcome back to the game on Eagle 95.1 and online at eagleradio951.com or thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason broadcasting from snowy Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, as we are under a blizzard warning starting around 1 o'clock today. We're recording this around noon, so we're going to have blizzard conditions throughout the day, winds up to 50, 60 miles per hour and more snow, and my goodness, we have enough up here. We are joined now by our good friend Butch Davis from the Metro Detroit area. You can find him on his own podcast page, simply Butch2, that's TOO.podomatic.com. You can also find him on Facebook, look up Butch On Sports, or you can find him right here on our website, thegamesportshow.com, who joins us to talk about what's going on in the world of sports from a regional and national perspective. Butch, great to hear from you. Good to have you on, and how you doing, my friend?
Well, you know. With knee surgery just completed and whatnot, their replacement knee surgery there, and I'm starting to grind there.
And that's always a tough surgery, Butch, and our thoughts are with you on your recovery. My dad's going to be having one here coming up next month, so hopefully once you get all healed up, I'll get you in touch with another Butch, and you can tell him how great the surgery was overall, and you're going to be walking and flying around in no time, sir.
I hope so here. Well, we'll both be flying around here in juice here, here.
Yes, indeed, Butch. Well, let's talk about, we haven't talked about it much here. We haven't had a lot of shows due to travel and other conditions. Let's first of all talk about the Detroit Pistons, Butch. Pistons starting to play some good basketball over the weekend. They started with a win at Atlanta on Friday night. Andre Drummond with 26 points and 21 rebounds in that one, and then following it up with another a solid performance on the road at Miami. winning last night by the score of 119-96. Ish Smith with a big game, 22 points and 9 rebounds. And the Pistons now would be in the playoffs if it started today. They're up to the 7th seed. And, Butch, Pistons, maybe many thought they might kind of fold the tent, but there's a little life left in them, at least at this point.
Oh, they folded the tent, all right. They got rid of some people that was not producing at all. And again, I was saying it on many occasions on the podcasts and all there. It wasn't nothing wrong with Blake Griffin. It wasn't nothing wrong with Andre Drummond. It was around the surrounding cast was not doing their thing. And once the trade mechanism started going around where Jackson almost got traded, Bullock definitely got traded, and some other players got traded and let go as well, things started changing around the house of the Detroit Pistons there. And they let them know in a nice little way, if you want to be around and stick around, you're going to have to play some ball. And their attitude and their team has pulled around 360. Luke Kennard has played excellent ball during this particular time of changeover and whatnot there. Brown has played very good ball there. Ish Smith coming back from injury has played excellent ball. People are knowing their role. Tom Maker, another one. You wasn't expecting to a whole heck of a lot of them, but this guy can shoot. And he showed that he can be accounted for when an important play has to be dealt with. He'll go out there and make the play, either via a block or a three-pointer or whatever he has to do. Those are the kind of teammates you need around the team to get something going and get a playoff run in its entitlement. So the Pistons have gotten, hopefully, that straightened out and don't run into any more ruts this particular season here.
Butch, college basketball, we're 3 weeks away from Selection Sunday and a big game going on here this afternoon as we record this show around Sunday at noon. Michigan at home, the number 7th team in the nation, taking on number 10 Michigan State. That one at 3:45. They'll meet again here, I believe, in the next week or so in East Lansing. Michigan State, they're without a couple key players as Nick Ward, he got injured last week and he's out. And then you know, you look at these two teams, Butch, maybe making some noise in the NCAA tournament. It should be a good game today at Chrysler Arena.
Well, it should be a good game if they're allowed to get there and play it. Right now, the weather has a lot to do with people making it, extremely making it on time, or the game going to be started on time to get there. Again, we have those same conditions right now down here already going on with 50 and 60 and 70 degree, not degree, but wind per mile per hour.
That's wishful thinking on the degrees, Butch.
And in Ann Arbor, where the ground is lower there, it's expected to get a lot colder, a lot quicker. So that's going to be one heck of a time right now for if you got things going on in Ann Arbor to get down there and get back there safely. Again, everybody's on the prowl here of checking the weather and making sure the lights don't go out, and they have additional medicinals to go around here to see the game. But again, the game could be an icebreaker to maybe release if your TV is working at that point in time there. I don't know. But again, Michigan and Michigan State, is about time they had some time to play one another. It all takes place in 1 week. Both teams are going to the NCAA, so we'll see how this go out. The winner of these particular games, they'll win the Big Ten.
Yeah, I agree, Butch. Butch Davis joining us from the Metro Detroit area. Bad weather all across the state of Michigan. The Mackinac Bridge currently closed due to ice and winds. We had power outages up here, not really from the wind, but more from the snow and ice, and it's starting to come down hard as we speak. Let's move on to the Detroit Red Wings. Butch, they are scheduled to play this afternoon at 3 at the Little Caesars Arena against the San Jose Sharks. A couple games this week. Again, the Wings competitive in all these games, but just not getting the victories. They fall at home to Chicago on Wednesday in overtime by a score of 5-4, and they also lose at home on Friday by the score of 3-2. But there was a move made a couple days ago, Butch, involving one of the Wings players and getting a draft pick.
Jensen has gone to, I do believe, Washington. Washington gave up a heavy draft pick for the next 3 or 4 years for the Detroit Red Wings to receive. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty rocky. It looks right now that the Red Wings, unless they can put a drive in, which in the next week and 10 days, they're not going to be in the playoffs per se there. But that's a good thing because now you'll get to see some of their players coming up from up north from Grand Rapids coming down here and participating there. And I believe that's going to be the case the next 3 or 4 weeks for the Red Wings.
Butch, let's move on to a sunnier subject, baseball, as the Detroit Tigers already underway in spring training. They won their first game in Dunedin against the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday by the score of 4-0. Give us a little snapshot, Butch, heading into spring training about the Detroit Tigers, obviously a team that is rebuilding after last season. What are your thoughts on the Tigers, where they're at, and what to expect this season?
You really want to know the truth here?
I do.
Well, from where I sit here right now, Detroit's not going to be very good this year, okay? I think the biggest thing is going to be, is Miguel Cabrera going to be a designated hitter or be a first baseman? Now, it was up to Cabrera. He would want to play first base every single game. I know for the longevity of the team, of the Detroit Tigers, they would like to see Miguel Cabrera split that time between a designated hitter and a first baseman there. That's going to be the big-time fight there. And if they can come to peace with that particular situation, whatever the setup is, I think the team will roll a little bit more smoother. Right now, that would, to me, be the big headache right now, Miguel Cabrera's desire to play first base there. He's deserved that particular shot to play first base every single game if he wanted to do so. And I think he should be given that opportunity there. But again, the Detroit Tigers owning everything and owning the rights, and they may say something else is a little bit more tolerable, and they're going to fight right then and there. So we'll see what happens through that.
Butch Davis joining us on the game. And Butch, couple subjects I wanted to tackle before we get any that you are looking at. The new football league, the American Alliance of Football. What's your thoughts so far? Have you had a chance to watch any of it? I watched opening weekend when they had it on CBS and found myself entertained a bit, but you know, we already see they're having some financial issues. They almost didn't make payroll on the first week. We're seeing some big attendance issues in some of these cities. Is the AAF gonna last? Are they gonna make it more than this year? Have you had a chance to see it? And what are your thoughts?
Well, when players are only making $75,000 a year, like a Trent Richardson there, you can better believe they're going to have problems there. You can tell they're not making too much money playing football, per se, there.
Right.
That league is going to have to do some leaps and bounds. Again, the biggest story that we be told will be the balance will be next year. Excuse me. The balance will be next year when the XFL come back into play with Vince McMahon.
Right.
The biggest portion of the scenario with many of the teams right now is insurance. And insurance can wipe away something to eat, your medication. It can wipe away a whole heck of a lot of things. But right now, insuring someone within these particular leagues and they get a concussion or they file a lawsuit or anything, insurance companies don't look too doggone kosher in covering up the football league as it stands. Now, maybe the National Football League can be able to substantiate those findings and be able to make sure payment is made for some of those issues there. But again, those are the most important issues of people watching themselves and watching themselves very dearly. Again, the XFL is going to have the last say on the Blue Bonnet League that comes out next year there, because I think they're going to be a lot more popular, a lot more brief. They're going to do things a lot more skittish as far as the league is concerned, and with the NFL concerned as well. So competitively here right now, I saw nothing wrong with the game itself. Yes, you did see some empty seats there, and you're going to continue to see empty seats until this particular thing gets worked up and get popular because no one's making no money.
Butch Davis joining us on the game. Butch, let's move on to one of our favorite subjects, the WWE, as we are on the road to WrestleMania. We do have some business, of course, to take care of before that. Another pay-per-view coming here. I think Fastlane will be happening in a couple weeks after Elimination Chamber this past weekend or a couple weeks ago. What's your thoughts as far as where the WWE is headed towards WrestleMania? Are we going to see the women main eventing at WrestleMania with, well, right now, Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, but you know that Becky Lynch is going to have her quote-unquote suspension lifted before that. Just your overall thoughts on the WWE heading into their biggest show of the year, WrestleMania.
I think this is going to be a big year for the WWE franchise and women as to be their lead for a lot of matches. I think a lot of the men's matches right now, when you see so many wrestlers not wrestling as regular as they do, such as the Kevin Owens or some other good wrestlers as well, and they take time off, and many of them retired and whatnot. And then you got the NXT division. They're bringing out new talent, and you can tell where that talent is being used now, more manipulative in the WWE from Raw and on SmackDown there. So I think it's time for the women. Right now, the women have showed that they are the headliners, and many of the good stuff that's going on with the WWE right now. The actual match with the Elimination Chamber with Becky and Miss Banks, that worked out to a no not one. You know that Becky Lynch is going to come back. You know she's going to come back here. It's going to be wicked as the scene. Then you got some newcomers coming into play that they haven't showed their old shit there. So we got about a good 4 weeks of people showing their rear end to be a part of WrestleMania.
Butch, we are starting March Madness tomorrow, if you can believe that, all across the state of Michigan. We have our hockey broadcast, of course, preempting our show tomorrow night from the Wicked Sister. The boys basketball districts begin. Here we go. It's going to be a wild and woolly few weeks heading into March, and both the boys and girls basketball finals happening, as well as hockey finals. What are some of the things that you're looking at here as, again, you look outside and March seems like a distant memory, or as far as seems like it's a long ways away, but the fun begins here just in a few hours.
Well, I haven't really taken too much stock in the high school stuff, being that this week has been pretty wicked indeed with the busyness of what I've had to do and the reality of what I needed to do there.
Yeah.
So I'll be maybe sitting down this evening looking at the seeds, looking at the particular teams that are going to be out there, who's going to be somewhat accountable. I know River Rouge is one of the teams in Class B or A, I should say, that's going to be looked at very highly there. Some of the downriver teams as well is going to be very, very accountable. You can better believe that the Detroit Public School League is going to have their representation out there in order to do their thing and make things life worthwhile for this particular tournament up and coming. And then the girls also, too. You can't put them and shine them in the corner there. Some of the latest matches there that has come up to date right now has been the girls been playing some outstanding basketball there. So you got two heads looking at one, and I'm going to kind of catch up with everything this weekend or this week, along with my exercises and calisthenics and enjoying pain the way other people like to enjoy it, and finding out exactly what's going to go on here and maybe who's going to lead the dance in East Lansing and also in Kalamazoo.
Butch, anything that you wanted to talk about here that we haven't covered before we get to our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week?
No. We covered everything. I think we about covered everything that's more or less decent there. And we covered anything worthwhile. We covered the Pistons, and was able to justify that. People, say, well, we're putting on a junkie show there, and that's not true because we looked at the whole situation and everything I talked about throughout the season for the Detroit Pistons has come up smelling like a rose there, and a good rose at that. Not the smelly ones, but the good smelling rose at that there. They got rid of some players that really was not producing, and that was the big key. That was made things all the merrier for the Detroit Pistons not winning because, again, those particular two people that I mentioned didn't have people playing with them, and they're coming out there every single game, busting their brains out there, and no one to help them. Now you got a class of people going out there and putting up some work there. Again, we're going to see how long that lasts here, okay? Do we expect them to go very far in the playoffs? We'll wait and see. But again, it was the Pistons really and truly that had some justifiable meaning to what they were doing this year. They could and will make the playoffs.
Butch, let's get to our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. I will start. Thumbs down to the weather. My goodness sakes, it has been a wild February here, really around the state of Michigan, but more locally here in northern Michigan. Snow depth over 3 feet, and we're expecting more storms, school cancellations all over the state and around here. So we are hoping for some nice weather in March because February has not been good at all. And thumbs up. I had a chance. The reason we haven't had some shows here over the past couple weeks is I was at a 2-week training at the Gateway Clubhouse in Greenville, South Carolina, and a couple thumbs up. First of all, to the training and the location I went to. It's an absolutely amazing facility. What Clubhouse is, for maybe those that don't know what it is, it's a place where individuals with mental illness go and do work and be part of a great thing, and to see one that's been in action really since the early 80s, and to see a place where they get an average attendance of 60 to 70 people a day, and some of the individuals that we met there and the relationships that were formed. We're forming one in Sault Ste. Marie. My full-time job is as executive director of our Sault Ste. Marie Clubhouse. We've been open a couple months. We already have 12 members, and we're very proud of that. But to see one on that large scale in action and just the great things that individuals are doing with some big challenges in their lives, and it was absolutely amazing to see. And the other thumbs up is to the people of Greenville, South Carolina, and I guess just Southern hospitality as a whole. I had a chance to live in the South, in Millington, Tennessee for a couple years when I was in the U.S. Navy. And, there is a thing called Southern hospitality, and it's amazing. It really is. People are friendly. We went and happened to see a Furman basketball game as they took on UNC Greensboro. And just from the people that are waving you in to park and just, how you doing, y'all? Happy to be here. Just, there's a lot to be said about Southern hospitality, and it's nice to see. I'm not saying that we in the North maybe aren't as hospitable, easy for me to say, but there is something to be said about Southern hospitality. In Greenville, South Carolina, they got a minor league hockey team. They got a minor league baseball team. They got college athletics. It's a great place to go if you're ever looking for maybe a place that's maybe you wouldn't normally see, and the downtown is absolutely amazing as well. Butch Davis, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, sir.
Well, to piggyback on that particular situation about the mental health and whatever it may be, if you look at the Oscars tonight, you're going to see many Oscar people who have been nominated for Oscars have challenges of autism and whatnot there. Some of the effects in those particular movies are done by autistic human beings there in California there. As a member right now, I've counted a total of 12 people who are up for Academy Awards who are autistic, okay, in that field of special effects and whatnot. And it's a blessing. And hopefully those clubhouses can round out it with many things, many particular things you get that our mental health can do and take charge in there. They're not limited, but if you limit them to certain individual things, they'll stay limited. But open the doors for them to do something and make something good at it. They will go a long, long way. My thumbs down this way, of course, is Mr. Robert Kraft. I know you wasn't going to mention him. He's your boy and all that over there. But you know what? He got caught in the cookie jar. He said he got film on it. I can't wait to see it, which we'll never will get to see it there. But he'll probably get a couple months there in the slammer, or have to do some dry time work and telling some kids in a group home or something there. You shouldn't be buying. I don't know.
Hey, stay out of those places, Robert. Come on.
Right on the strip of Miami Beach here, man.
Places where he could go that he could do that legally, but I guess who am I to say, right?
And I thought it was in Boston there, but then we looked at the doggone film, it was all in Miami Beach and all this other stuff there where he was going. He was a regular host. And then, they said there's other people involved in this particular situation that we know of by name, who they haven't released their names as of yet, and I can't wait to hear it. There's up to 60 or 70 people involved with these places there, but I guess you gotta have what you gotta have. I don't know there. He's a Super Bowl champion.
Yes, and all I want to say is I'm sure there's something we could say about inflated balls, but I'll just leave that one alone.
All right, okay. He got two of them inflated right now here.
Yes, indeed. Butch Davis joining us on the game. Again, you can find Butch on his podcast page, Simply Butch2. That's TOO.podomatic.com. Also, give him a like on Facebook. You can find him at Butch On Sports, or you can find his broadcasts and all our broadcasts on our podcast page, thegamesportshow.com or thegamesportshow.podbean.com. You can also go to YouTube and look up the Scott Nason channel. Butch will be at the Wicked Sister on Monday, March 4th. Not there tomorrow night due to Soo High Blue Devil hockey, but the calendars are cleared on Monday, March 4th. So we're hoping your knee feels better. Get some rest, my friend, and we'll talk to you next Monday at the Wicked Sister here on the game.
I'll get some rest, but I got to work it out because I want to get up and running again here. And this is a hard surgery, but I thank the people who have stepped on in there and really been a godsend to me. Yourself, your staff, a lot of people here, who stepped on in there and really made things comfortable for me while I'm trying to recuperate here.
We appreciate that, Butch. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week, my friend.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's going to do it here on this special edition of the game. Again, our broadcast schedule for next week, Monday, we'll have Soo High Blue Devil hockey, as Tim and Clayton Ellis will be down in Gaylord as the Blue Devils will take on Alpena. And then we'll have district basketball on Wednesday, the number one team in Division 4 for the boys, Brimley. They'll take on Engadine in Rudyard starting around 7:30. I'll have the call along with Todd Olmsted for that one. And then if the Bays win on Wednesday, the district final would be on Friday. And that one would be in Rudyard. Todd Olmsted will have the call of that one. If it happens, I have Sioux Eagles hockey at home against the Sioux Thunderbirds. Our next broadcast of the game, as I mentioned, will be a week from Monday, March 4th, 6 to 7 o'clock on the radio with myself, Butch, along with Dave McKeag, Katie Woolen, and E.J. Russell. And then you can also find Dave's shows from Sioux, Ontario, all next week here at thegamesportshow.com. Stay safe, everyone. Be careful on the roads, and we will talk to you in a week and a day here on Eagle 95.1.